Stagg! Welcome to the recap for week number 9. Bro, we are already at 9 weeks worth of NFL football, and COVID is not functioning with us, bro. It does not want this season to continue.
No, it doesn't. But the NFL is putting in place and taking what I believe are the right steps to make sure we have a full season.
What are the right steps?
So listen, let's talk about some major things that happened this week. We saw the first team have their draft pick stripped away from them. Unfortunately for us locals, it was the Las Vegas Raiders. First, they get fined $500,000, $500,000. John Gruden another $150,000.
Pocket change.
And then took took the 2021 sixth round pick from the Las Vegas Raiders for repeated COVID protocol violations. And the owner, Mark Davis, calls this draconian, whatever that means. But I agree with him. This is draconian. I think they are taking in place. I think this is, in one aspect, it's unfair and it sucks because it's our local team. But in another perspective, it's these kind of moves that are going to help us get to the end of the season, which everybody wants to see. Another big thing was the Pittsburgh Steelers getting fined $250,000 for not wearing masks during the team's game against the Baltimore Ravens. And then also Mike Tomlin getting a $100,000 fine himself for not wearing a mask.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. One thing I do want to say is that Mike Tomlin has been coaching the Steelers for 14 seasons, and he's never had a losing season. So you got to talk about a guy who knows how to win. But at the same time, this guy is also paying the NFL unnecessary fines if he would just wear his stupid mask during the game, bro. How is it that hard?
So, not only that,
understand.
Unfortunately, the COVID news, the list goes on. So the next major thing that happened is we've had 2 players play with COVID. We had A.J. Dillon from the Packers, Humphrey from the Ravens play with COVID. For some reason, the NFL test players
irresponsible
that morning of Sunday, and they don't get the results till Monday. I think I've tried to look into it, and I think it might just be a precautionary going into the following week because they test the day before. If they're good, they're supposed to be good. But for some reason, these 2 players were able to play, and they tested negative the day before. So these guys were out on the field, shaking hands, talking to people. This is the reason last week you saw Jamal Williams out, still out. And with that being said, NFL is putting some enhanced COVID protocols going forward. So, number 1, everyone must wear a face covering on game day, on the sideline, in locker rooms, and during post-game interactions. So if you can go and shake somebody's hand after the game saying, good game, we whooped your ass, then you got to wear a mask while you do it. And they're taking it serious. And it seems like they made the Raiders an example, and they're not going to hesitate to take away some draft picks from people. And I'm not mad at it. I get it, and I think it's good because ultimately everybody, like I said, wants to get to the end of the season. Last note as far as COVID is the Patriots. On a different note, though, the Patriots have opted out to have no fans for the remainder of the 2020 season. Probably because
makes sense.
Bill Belichick doesn't want to see any of the fans see his shitty performance. But that's all I got for COVID. Let's move on to the next. What we got?
Wait, bro. I got one more. We got to talk about Matt Stafford, okay?
That's true.
My boy was, he's not my boy, actually. I just he seems kind of cool guy. But this dude is in close contact with somebody who is infected with COVID, right? So they put him on the reserve list all week. He doesn't practice with the team. Everything is virtual. Everything is Zoom. The team flies to Minnesota. He takes a private jet to stay away, okay? The team stays in a hotel. He stays in another hotel away from the team. He doesn't see his team until game day, bro. They finally see him at the stadium on the field for the first time. And what does he do? He goes out there and takes a shit, bro. It's so important for you to have preparation with your team live in person. And he didn't even test positive for COVID. But with the precautions they were taking, it really screwed the Lions for that game against the the Vikings, bro. But I mean, since we're talking about this game, can we talk about my boy Dalvin Cook for a second? Can you let him cook, bro? NFL rushing leader. Put some respect on his name, bro.
He had over 250 all-purpose yards, over 200 yards rushing. And this is for the second week in a row, and scores 2 touchdowns. So in the past, between the past 2 games, he scored over 500 all-purpose yards and 6 touchdowns in 2 games. Didn't I tell you guys last week, this guy's coming for that number 1 spot on fantasy football boards, baby. I know it's not that's not really what's on the top of his mind, but that's what's going to happen. I'm telling you right now, dude. But other than that, I mean, that was more than enough to put the Vikings over the Lions. And Matthew, who went out in the third quarter due to an injury anyways. He came in, he shit the bed, and then on top of that, got injured and left for pretty much the second half of the game.
Crazy,
but,
bro.
You know what? Speaking of injuries, man, one of the worst injuries we saw this week. Another dislocated ankle. Kyle Allen for Washington looking so promising this year. Leg just limping, just hanging off his leg just like that, man. It was terrible. He is out for season. And in comes Alex Smith. The guy who just recovered from that gruesome injury. And he comes in, bro, and he you could tell that he's rusty. You know what I'm saying? Like he's mentally, I feel like he's still a smart quarterback, but like there's still like a layer of fear. You know what I'm saying? Or like some uneasiness. He doesn't trust his body yet, you know? I mean, you were a quarterback with knee issues, bro. Can you relate? Dug deep for that one. He's talking about me being a high school quarterback and then having had 5 knee surgeries since. Anyways, let's not go down that road. But Alex Smith, I do agree with you, but he's always been this kind of quarterback. He's always been conservative, and I would know him being a former 49er. He did throw for 325 yards and 1 touchdown, but on the flip side, he also took 3 interceptions and 2 sacks.
Can't win like that.
Only to lose the game against the New York Giants. I mean, if you're losing against any team in New York, I mean, that's pretty bad.
It's true. Speaking of New York teams, okay, the winless Jets almost went out and shocked the world and beat the Patriots tonight on Monday Night Football, bro. But how is Adam Gase still the coach?
The Jets are so good at losing, they will not allow it to be any other way. Adam Gase says, please, we need Trevor. I think he has spoken to the upper management, the owners, and whispered in their ear, like, look, we got to stay completely winless. Because if we get Trevor Lawson, I guarantee you, me as the head coach, like he has people as brainwashed as Donald Trump has his fan base. It is incredible that they are 8-0 now, or 0-8, excuse me.
I can't believe you said that.
Yeah, I went there, and he still is employed. I just don't get it. And the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick and Cam Newton pull off a victory in the last minutes, man. That was a pretty entertaining game to watch, at least down to the end.
Yeah, right down to the end. I mean, we're gonna bounce from the New England Patriots and their current situation. And we're going to jump over to what they had last season. And we're going to talk about Tampa Bay and what the heck happened, Angel. This team gets a stud wide receiver out of nowhere. And they go out there on their home turf, bro. And actually, I don't even think they went out there. I think they played the game from the locker room. Or they must have been playing on Madden, on all Madden level, bro, because Drew Brees was played out of his mind.
He sure did, man. This was the second time that Tom Brady loses to Drew Brees this season, and everyone thought it was going to be a different story because everybody's hyping up the Bucs to be that contender this year. And what did they come out and do? They have 5 total rush attempts. They ran the ball 5 times, and that's including 1 kneel down at the end of the game. So really was 4 rushing attempts. This is with them having a lot of familiar faces back. So Chris Godwin comes back after having a surgically repaired finger. Imagine having surgery on your finger, missing 1 week and coming right back. He was catching footballs like this, like with his pinky and ring finger. And then on top of that, on the other side of the ball, we have Michael Thomas back, who was everybody's been anticipating him coming back, and he put up a whole lot of nothing for you this week. So if you traded for him, congratulations. You got single digits this week. That's what you've been waiting for. And last but not least, I think that what happened tonight, if you really watch the game, and this is something similar to what I saw personally Tom Brady do when Antonio Brown went to the Patriots, and that was trying to force the ball to him. You saw at least one of his picks came from him trying to throw a deep ball on the side, then throwing a ball down the middle. And he just kept throwing it deep to Antonio Brown, and he was trying to build his confidence, I believe, but at the same time, like, you can't put all your eggs in one basket. Like, Mike Evans people were arguing that he was open, and he just kept aiming for Antonio Brown. I mean, I understand that's your friend, you're trying to get him involved, but bro, I mean, you're playing against the New Orleans Saints. This is not a time that you try to get him, get him warmed up during a game. Anyways. Enough about this game. Saints whoop on the Buccaneers. And
yeah, it was crazy, bro. Hey, but I mean, from one quarterback that did not have any confidence to another rookie quarterback that balled out yesterday. Man, can you give my boy Tua some love? I mean, if you check the story yesterday, man, Tua went out there and did work in Arizona against Kyler Murray, man. What a great game that was.
Heck yeah, dude. And the Dolphins are marching, dude. They are killing it. They've won 4 straight now, 5 out of their last 6. And this is when switching from Fitzpatrick to Tua out of nowhere. And Tua looked much better this week, scoring a couple touchdowns, throwing for a couple 100 yards compared to where he was last week, throwing for less than 100 yards. So Tua looked like the real deal. It's kind of awkward seeing a left-handed quarterback, but nonetheless, he was killing it out there, and he drove the last 2 scoring drives to come back and win that game. Came back and scored a touchdown, then drove him down again and scored a field goal, and Sanders kicked it for a big win. Was this a surprise victory to you, or should we have expected this? Should we expect this going forward from the Dolphins?
I'm going to say yes. I think the coach, Brian Flores, is a really good coach. I think their defense is playing out of their mind. They have Kyle Van Noy, who is a defensive specialist, came from New England, and they're rocking, bro, and they're trusting their special teams too. You got a guy like Jeremy Grant, who is probably as quick as Tyreek Hill, and he is kick return, punt return. He is doing it all, and they are just getting performance and value on all sides of the ball. So if Tua is available in your fantasy leagues, you should definitely go pick him up because there's huge upside for him moving forward, man. Somebody else that also has huge upside that just cannot catch a break, my boy Justin Herbert. Man, these Los Angeles Chargers finding more ways to lose the game in the last seconds, bro. You gotta feel for the Chargers, bro.
I think that can we say that the new Atlanta Falcons? Because I mean, the Falcons found themselves another win, but the Chargers lose with a controversial call at the end of the game. What looked like a touchdown initially. Come to find out, it was not a touchdown, and the Raiders take this win. This is incredible. 3 out of the past 4 weeks, the Chargers have lost because of the final play. Can you believe that? Because of the last play of the game, you lost 3 out of the last 4. That is incredible. There's no way that these Chargers should only have 2 wins right now. Crazy,
it's sad, man. And what's crazy is that the 6 losses they have come by a combined score of 24 points. Can you believe that?
Incredible.
When you put all the losses together, 24, 1-score game. Man, I feel bad for them.
I want to talk about the next rookie quarterback. Since we're on rookie quarterbacks, might as well keep the train going. And this is a name you have not heard all year. Jake Luton of the Jacksonville Jaguars was slinging the rock. He threw 1 touchdown pass and a rushing touchdown, but it was more about the eye test. If you saw this rookie play, he looked great. He tried to make
Yes.
a comeback towards the end. They did end up losing because the Texans held on, but this rookie looked incredible, and he pulled DJ Chark out of the freaking shadows to finally make him relevant again. And my question for you is:
You are not lying.
Jake or Minshew rest of the season?
Based on that performance, I'm gonna go with Jake, bro. I mean, the coach already came out and said that Jake's playing next week. So I'm gonna ride the hot hand, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense unless you're gonna go with this guy moving forward. And it sounds a lot like what happened last year. You know, Gardner Minshew comes in and, you know, rides it out to the end, and he starts this year, and he's not playing like he should. You know, so let's bring in Jake Lewin. Look at him, comes out the bench, you know, slinging the rock, and we'll see how long this lasts. You know, this is the NFL. You just need a coach, a coaching staff to see you and get some film on you before you game plan, and you know you look great because they don't know who you are, and then the next week, you know, they're sacking you from the blind side. You know, but I hope he does well, man. I really do. I mean, we saw a good performance by Mr. Lewin, but what the performance that was really shaky yesterday was the Steelers, bro. Like watching that game, another quarterback, we don't know who it is, Garrett Gilbert. Have you ever heard of this guy? He sounds like he was in the back eating grapes or something.
Is that Jason
bro.
Garrett's nephew? I don't know who this guy is, man. Like,
these Garretts in Dallas, bro, it doesn't make sense.
But what was crazy about this game is Dallas came out hot. They were up the entire game until the fourth quarter, where Pittsburgh had to make a comeback. And the 8-0 Steelers barely skimmed by with the 24-19 game. I mean, Gilbert did enough. But it was really, you know, all around help from the Dallas Cowboys. But more surprisingly, it's like, are these Steelers contenders or pretenders is the question we need to start asking ourselves after a performance like this.
I think it was a fluke game. I mean, Big Ben got hurt at halftime. He still came out. I think they gave him like a painkiller injection because he came out and was able to finish the game and pull out a victory. But, you know, when you go in, you know, the undefeated team, you know, you go into Cowboy Stadium. The Cowboys are playing with, you know, house money. They got nothing to lose. They're starting, you know, this guy off the street that they met, you know, on the corner, and he goes out there and does enough. You know what I'm saying? But it just is a confidence thing. But the defense is really, you know, what the Steelers are gonna lean on. And as if they can put this game behind them, bro, there's a light at the end of the tunnel for sure, man. But from a low-scoring game like that to the highest-scoring game on the docket, bro, what is going on with Russ and Josh Allen? It was like quarterback duel time, and he said, "I'm up for the challenge against the favorable MVP candidate, dude." What happened?
I don't think anybody really had the Bills winning this one against Russell Wilson. I mean, the way Josh Allen has played recently compared to Russell Wilson has been absolute shit for the past few weeks. And Russell Wilson is on another level this year. So you totally saw a completely different Josh Allen, more like the early form of Josh Allen from this year, putting up 4 touchdowns, 3 in the air, 1 on the ground, and this guy was absolutely beast mode, man. Scoring 44 points. And, you know, a fun fact here, 44 points was the most allowed points ever scored on a Pete Carroll team with Seattle. The most points they ever allowed. And, you know, this defense is bad, but damn, bro. I mean, we already talked about how bad the Seahawks defense was earlier, but they need to get it together if they really want to be contenders this year. They cannot continue to lean on just Russell Wilson.
You're right. I mean, you shared that fun fact, and I'm going to share one of my own, is that through 8 weeks, the Seattle is on pace to break the worst pass defense in NFL history. And they're going to break it by at least 1,000 yards if they keep this pace. And, dude, you know what they say, defense wins championships. And at this point, Russ can't put it all on his back. I mean, it's too much. But also at the same time, you gotta stop throwing picks, man. He threw some interceptions that were pretty decisive, bro. Like, what are you doing, man? You're better than that.
Yeah, it's kind of like you saw him do against Arizona too. But look,
Yeah,
talking
all
about
those
bad
picks,
defenses, right behind them are the Atlanta Falcons. Letting these Broncos put up
It's true.
points on them. Drew Lock throwing for 300. Drew Lock and these receivers for the Broncos, are killing it recently. They got some good matchups down the stretch. You really want to take a look. Some fantasy advice. Jerry Jeudy blew up. If you didn't pick him up last week, you might be out of luck because he's like 60% owned now. But Tim Patrick is still under 50% owned. So a couple people that you may want to look at. But nonetheless, Atlanta Falcons actually do pull through and get themselves another win, regardless of how terrible their defense is.
That's right, bro. I mean, you feel bad for defenses that, can't stop anybody, but how can you stop somebody if all your defense is injured, right? And you know who I'm going to talk about, bro. I got to talk about the San Francisco 49ers, man. I mean, they got quarterback problems, they got injury problems, they got COVID problems, bro. And it doesn't help when Aaron Rodgers, who's in a contract year, is going out there to show what he does, and he's got somebody like Devontae Adams to throw to, man, and he just lit it up on Thursday night.
I mean, I got no excuses, man. I mean, you've already laid it out. There's nothing. I mean, even the 17 points that are up there really wasn't the actual true final score, the way the game was going. It was a blowout all the way. And Devontae Adams comes out and says, he claims he's the number one wide receiver. Julio Jones says, I'm the number one wide receiver. So, I mean, in your opinion, who is the best receiver in the NFL this year?
Bro, you forgot number 3 that came out and didn't even say that. He just said, ha, ha. And I'm talking about my boy D-Hop down in Arizona. There's no question right now. DeAndre Hopkins, in my opinion, is the best wide receiver in the league. Just his catch radius, bro, is insane, and the way that he's been able to put up these numbers with the quarterbacks in his career. Luckily now he has a good quarterback with Kyler Murray, but
and you can't forget about receivers like DK Metcalf either, putting up some big numbers. Anyways, go ahead.
Yes, on the way, man. But hey, oh man, so bro, I mean D-Hop is great, but upcoming young stud right now, AJ Brown in his second league, dude. I know he was injured for a little bit, but Ryan Tannehill knows how to find him, and this guy just, all he does is catch the ball and run after the catch. His yak is stupid.
It is through the roof, and honestly, you can say that about pretty much every Titan. It feels like if you watch one of these games, it feels like it's a catch and run, or a Derrick Henry, just straight up run for a ton of yards. In this game, you didn't see a whole lot of it, but he's usually breaking big ones. AJ Brown is breaking big ones, and you have a lot. Ryan Tannehill also usually throws for like 200 yards or less than 200 yards, but throws for 4 touchdowns somehow. Not in this game, but that's the kind of performances you get out of these Tennessee Titans. You might say they might be the most efficient team in the NFL. Anyways, they beat the Bears, who for some reason the Bears are 5-4 still after seeing their performance, and the Titans move on.
They've lost 3 in a row.
Finally bounce back and get a big win for the Titans. Another team that 2 quarterbacks that we haven't even talked about yet, who were all we could talk about last year, and Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Let's talk about how they're doing so far this year. Lamar Jackson is on a whole nother level of bad so far. You drafted him in the 3rd or 4th round of fantasy football, and he is not putting up the numbers that you expected him to. Somehow, they put up 24-10 against the Indianapolis Colts, but if you really watch this, he threw for 170 yards and 0 touchdowns. The offense looked atrocious. The Indianapolis Colts also looked atrocious, but luckily the Ravens have a defense that helped them score a touchdown, and
you ain't lying.
There's no other way to put it. But let's go right on over to the last game, which is the Kansas City
on
Chiefs
the other
versus
side,
the
bro.
Panthers, bro.
Surprising game.
So Patrick Mahomes, he has not lost a beat. He is living up to his huge contract. Another 4-touchdown game. And the Chiefs look absolutely incredible. Or do they? Are they questionable? They almost lost this game to the Panthers, bro. It came down to a field goal at the end of the game, and they almost lost it. But you can't talk about this game without talking about
a 67-yard field goal.
Yeah.
That's kind of nuts.
But you can't talk about this game and not talk about Christian McCaffrey. Talk about my boy, man.
Bro, Christian McCaffrey hit the ground running. Like he was not even out for the last 6-7 weeks, bro. I can't believe how good he looked, man. I know he didn't rush for 100 yards, but he was catching the ball like his 1,000-yard receiving past last year, dude. It's insane.
He had 10 receptions for 82
in.
yards and a touchdown. That'd be a good game for just
nuts,
a receiver by itself.
Yeah, not to mention what he did as a running back, bro. But, you know, you love to see him come back, and you hate to see him get injured because he injures his rib and his shoulder at the end. You know, he might miss some time again, but
game, it was
poor guy. But, hey, the Chiefs, in my opinion, the Chiefs should have lost that game. And, you know, Teddy Bridgewater played his ass off. But, man, what a crazy week, bro. I mean, that wraps it up for week number 9. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please, if you watch the rest of the video, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, leave a comment. I'm sorry I'm not eating any fucking hot sauce this week, but I'm still glad you guys came and watched the video.
Absolutely.
Maybe next week Angel will eat some hot sauce.
Yeah, right. If Adam Gaines is still employed by next week after losing to the Patriots that way, you're taking some more hot sauce, my friend. Anyways, we'll catch you guys next week, week number 10.
All right.
Peace.
10. Peace.